Hythloday, you just made a video almost 7 minutes long complaining that I don't focus on the topic in reply to a video in which I'm talking about the topic, and you go off on a tangent about me saying something like, hey, I don't know if that was as clear as you wanted, and you make a big deal of that, complaining I don't focus. Meanwhile, you barely even mention the topic we're actually discussing. When you do mention it, you're like, well, unless you're doing this trivial argument and being so pedantic that everything is physics. Well, I've been telling you that from the beginning. That's exactly what I am doing. And you want that justified? It's because I don't believe in metaphysics. I think everything is physical. That means everything can be explained with physics, ultimately, given enough time to research. Love, is that to be left to the poets? Or can we say, hey, love's probably something to do with the DNA, chemistry, you know? Just like it generates hunger and lust and all these feelings to help trigger motivation, the love is going to be, yes, ultimately explained in the biochemistry of the brain. Why a flower looks beautiful, you could say, why was I attracted to that person? Because they were beautiful. Well, yeah, but that is ultimately going to have a physical explanation. The physical chemistry of your brain and its interaction with its environment, all physically explicable, will explain why you found the person attractive, and then this other feeling came. So yes, that's what I believe, and we could be conversing about that. But you want to talk about my style, which I'm not changing my style around you. You don't get that. Well, you should do this. No, you're confused. You make a video with the title saying I'm pontificating, but you're complaining about the fact that I want to have conversations. Do you understand that pontification is an exposition of dogma? And I'm just putting questions that we would discuss. You don't see the difference. You don't see the contradiction in saying I'm pontificating where you're refusing to have conversations. And you say, well, when Joe Vegan makes a thing to you, he's not trying to do in a conversation. Like I'm trying to do some touchy-feely thing. Hey, I open a conversation. You reply to me. You're taking part in the conversation. But if you ask for a reply, if you talk to me directly and you ask for a reply, you are asking for conversation. You're saying I should reply a certain way. You don't think that's conversation? You don't know the difference between like reading a book and writing an essay on it where you don't expect the author to read it and coming to me and telling me to defend myself. You don't see how that might be inherently a conversation. Really. There's a lot of things you don't see. You are a hypocrite. You want to make videos focusing on my style and you never deal with the issues. You just say, I haven't. But I have answered your questions like, why do I think physics is necessary? Because I think we're at the threshold. We know enough physics already to get a handle on brain chemistry and bring it to this next level. It's inherently a physical question because we're asking, how does this incomprehensible phenomena occur? And it's basically inherently a physical question. Philosophy can't answer that satisfactorily. Theology can't answer that satisfactorily. Those answers are going to come like, well, because God makes it so, or because there's an analytic a priori reason for it. I'm sorry, none of those are going to work. We're going to have to look to the synthetic truths of actual nature to figure out why this is happening to us. Okay? And we have enough knowledge to go into that question, and a couple people are. And you're in an ironic position where you're like, well, physics doesn't need to know, and besides, we know everything we need to know from physics, and physics could have... Well, whatever. Yeah, I am a reductionist. I think everything is physical. It's a physical world. There is no metaphysics. That means that philosophically, I have to try to found an epistemology on synthetic origins, synthetic truths, and I think I have done that by showing that the existence of perceptions is itself a synthetic truth that we know because we experience it, and yet it's as universal as we're going to find for humans because everybody experiences it. So let's come up with the physical answer. And you're kind of, well, let's argue about which field should study it. Hey, all the fields should study it. Ultimately, the bottom line, everything besides physics is going to be talking about a special case and using abstractions that we have as humans, whereas physics at least is going to go down to some abstractions that better than any other have subtracted out the human component. And if we can describe this stuff in terms of chemistry, we'll have a lot more knowledge. No, we're not fully knowledgeable. No, it's not true there are no mysteries about the brain. Okay, and you don't like to be corrected, but you see a video where I say, hey, we have to study it with physics. It can't be classical physics, so it's going to be QM or something new. And you say, and you come back to me claiming I said that quantum mechanics won't be able to answer it. I said right in that video, quantum mechanics might be able to answer it, and since we know some quantum mechanics, let's try with that. I'm sorry, that has to be corrected. You're expecting me to defend a position I don't even have, and the video I said was explicitly, literally taking an opposite position. I'm sorry, you have to be a big enough person to realize when some clarifications come to you, they're not all dodges. Someone might actually be clarifying how they feel. You paraphrased them wrong and got the wrong end of the stick. And that's likely to happen with people that have different styles. If you can't live in a world where you could communicate with other intellectual styles, then stop fucking answering our videos. Okay.